All right. So, what a game. Was a lot closer than a lot of us would have liked it to be. But still, I mean, hey, a win's a win. But yeah, this team didn't look that good tonight. But nevertheless, a win's a win. They're 500, going to the Florida Classic now at 5-5 against a team that I want to say, I have to look back at it and see what Bethune's record is. Actually, here. Yeah, 5-5 versus 5-6 next week in Orlando. So two teams that are about the same in record next week. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. About to roll the intro. We'll talk about this one. Yeah, so FAMU wins 26-23 in Huntsville. Much needed game. We'll talk about all of it. The sloppy start to the beginning. We'll also talk about the absolutely stupid targeting call that wasn't really targeting. It was all shoulder really on Nayron. He is still able to play next week, by the way. So he's not been ejected from that game. He won't miss the first half of next week. Doesn't impact him. So we'll also discuss that as well. But yeah, again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Oh, what up? Oh, this will be good. Let's see. Randolph. Yeah, I know. Yep. Yeah, should never happen. Let's see. We are a bad team. We are. Next week's very questionable. It's also make or break. But I'll tell you about that on the other side of the intro. Don't worry. Here we go. All right. So, first things first, I'm going to start off with, I'll say it now. Colsey is coaching for his future next year, Saturday. You can't lose that one. Again, we're on the march to try to be 7-5. And much like Chad said right here, we are a bad football team. We are what we are. QB plays inconsistent. He hit probably, but the crazy thing is, as much as we want to say it's inconsistent, he probably may have played his best game of the year tonight. I think he did. Actually, yeah. No, you can actually say he did. Yeah. 299 yards, 20 of 24, 3 touchdown passes. And it was I've never seen such a sloppy 20 of 24 for 299 ever in my life. But he delivered. Running game almost had 100 yards all total tonight, but at the same time, too, is his defense gave up 400 yards. Alabama A&M had their best game rushing, quite frankly, since early October. So just insane. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, Nayron's not ejected for the first half of next week. He is still able to, start and play in the first half of the Classic next week. So that had no effect on him. Oh, yeah, almost forgot the score update. Whoops, here we go. All right, so score update as it stands right now. So as we know, Two finals on Friday. South Carolina State beat NC Central 34-27. Oregon beat Minnesota 42-13. A couple finals today. Some of these I was not expecting. 3 of them I wasn't expecting. Arizona takes down number 25 Cincinnati 30-24. Notre Dame beats Pittsburgh 37-15. USF basically all but eliminated from that American Conference race. They lose to Navy 41-38. FAMU comes out on top tonight 26-23 over Alabama A&M. Iowa currently trails by 5 against USC 26-21 in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, the game in Tuscaloosa right now, Alabama trails by 2 against Oklahoma, 23-21, with about 7:23 left to go in the fourth quarter. Alabama's actually about to get the ball back right now. So, and then, of course, too, you have Texas, Georgia tonight, and then UC Davis and Montana at 10:15 tonight. Also, yeah, next week will be pretty interesting. Okay, so, let's continue to read off the rest of these numbers here. So Thad Franklin, 16 carries, 65 yards, no touchdowns. Jamal Haley, 6 carries, 34 yards. Why is there such a wide gap in carry? I think you need to split that a little bit more, or just at least ride the hot hand. But I guess that was the hot hand. Which next week, honestly, in my opinion, I think both these guys are going to have to go over 100 yards each for this team to win. So yes, you're going to have to rush for 200 yards. But I think both of these guys are going to have to rush for 100 yards each. And maybe if you win the Classic, split the MVP trophy. Yeah, and that was crazy too. That was the largest comeback, I think, in the history of their football program. That was just insane. Shane Beamer's got to get fired. You have to get fired. You went from and it was a steady regression even last year coming out. I think it was the Cheez-It Bowl that was on New Year's Day. They had no business losing to Illinois, and now it's like you look at where Shane Beamer is now, 3-7, and you just blew, what was it, 27-point lead? Fireable offense. Shane Beamer's gone, man. I definitely think he's gone. But yeah, no. Thad Franklin, Jamal Haley, in my opinion, I think they're both going to have to go for over 100 next week. They're going to have to. And you're going to need to see the same type of output you saw tonight from RJ Johnson next week. He's going to have to do it. But now we know, at least now we know it's in him to do it. So now we know he has the potential to throw for 300 yards. He has the potential to have damn near perfect game passing. 20 of 24 is damn near perfect. And 3 TDs. And lo and behold, too, we, on this platform, we've given, Jalen Rogers such a tough time for, drops and everything and key moments. But he came up big today, a clutch touchdown catch for Jalen Rogers. And it was his lone reception, 27 yards for a TD. Yeah, he has talent. He has talent. It's just, and I think this is part of it right here. There really is no rhythm, it feels like, to this offense. You hope that you're going one direction, and then it's like he takes it in a whole nother direction. And I don't understand it either. Sometimes we go from looking like a school for the blind who can't find their own way to all of a sudden now it's just, the flip of a switch. We look consistent. I don't get it. But I mean, if it works, it works. It's just you gotta be careful with that, because then it's like when you play a team that is on your level, like what you're gonna see next week is a team that's on your level that you can beat. The question is being quicker. Yes, actually. Yeah, and if he could read the field a lot quicker, because again, he has talent. It's in him. You see it in him. I think it's just being more consistent, reading the field, going through every read. Yes, no, that makes sense. That does make sense. Like, he's very predictable, but at the same in the same sentence, he is also inconsistent. So it's like he makes you pull your hair out because he's like literally just giving it away, like the obvious, because he just stares it down. But at the same time, too, it's like he's gonna make a play. Not to mention, well, really, he had 4 total all-purpose touchdowns tonight. So, he had 1 rushing touchdown. He still had -6 yards, but, like, to go along with that 3 touchdown pass at afternoon, he's actually gonna spoiler alert for Tuesday night, he's going to be our Rattler of the Week. Mhm. Definitely predictable. So that's why I'm curious to see now what his performance will be, or how do they approach the Classic? You know, like, do you rely heavily on the run? Do you let RJ try to rip it and just, hope for the same effort that you saw tonight? Only hopefully it's not as, you know, inconsistent, but at the same time too predictable. I wonder if Colsey and Burris' philosophies are at odds. Burris has the play calls in him. I feel like he is. I've heard that he is. Because I feel like, because you could see, like, I think Colsey wants to, like, have his own little fingerprints in this. And my thing is, you got to just let Burris do what he does. This is also the problem, too. The defense is Swiss cheese. This is an offense that, and I go back to it, funny enough, let's reread it. Coming into this game, Alabama A&M struggled to establish a running game. They had 103 yards all total in the PV game. No individual had gone over 100 yards. They had 52 yards rushing against Grambling. They had 44 yards rushing against Alabama State. What did they do tonight? As far as rushing goes, on the ground, Alabama A&M had 233 yards tonight. Ryan Morrow had 136 yards rushing, 1 TD. Isaiah Nokinkwo had 15 carries for 75 yards tonight. Swiss cheese at its finest. Not to mention, let's see, what else did I put in here? They fumbled the ball away 3 times last week against PV. They hadn't scored a rushing touchdown since the Magic City Classic, and tonight they had scored only one, which if EA isn't watching this right now, he was absolutely right. Everything that I've ran off and named off earlier today, in the pregame or countdown to kickoff, came to fruition. They successfully did it today. So who? And that's questionable. I feel like that was a coaching decision, because common sense tells you just kick the field goal there. Unless you're just trying to absolutely you must experiment with something for next week, or you're trying to go for a certain look. I don't see a point to go for 2 when you're the first person to score and get on the board. That should have just been, you know what? Okay, touchdown, kick the field goal. Let's keep on going. Maybe if we get up by enough later on in the game, we should try for 2. Maybe we get a certain look. Who knows? But I saw no purpose of going for 2, because you saw tonight when that field goal was blocked by Alabama A&M, that Daniel Porto tried to put through the uprights to get us 3 extra points. If you have, because that's a 1-point game. Yeah, this is true. But, back to this though, okay, Daniel Porto makes that extra point attempt where they go for 2. It's a 27-23 ball game now. Instead of the fact that, Alabama A&M's driving after a blocked field goal, and they only need a 3-point try to go to overtime. Now it's like, okay, they got to really push it. They need to go get a touchdown. Because now you're sitting here like you're putting all the pressure on them. Yes, and I'll be the first to admit Daniel Porto did not have a good night. But I'll also say this too. When you're consistently consistent amongst a group of inconsistent individuals, I really can't even throw any shade at you or blame you. For 90% of the season, he's done his part. I still think he should be an All-American. Now, does he need to clean it up next week? Absolutely. I'd rather him fumble and stumble this week than fumble and stumble next week. What's that thing? Minor setback for a major comeback. So hopefully that's what it is. All right, let's see what else we got here. Also, Kenari Wilcher, another strong game. Goldie Lawrence did come back in this game after his knee injury. Hopefully he's okay for next week. Get him all the treatment that he needs this week. I would definitely, let him know what his role is this week going into the Classic, but I wouldn't push him too far in practice. Let him get his treatment. Let him do what he has to do. Cold tub, ice, E-stim, whatever else it is that they have, and just get him ready because he's going to be heavily needed. Yeah, exactly. And one thing I won't do is I won't question the guy's toughness. For him to come back after a knee injury and still make plays like that, that takes a lot. We're the best of the worst. That's what it is. We are the best of the worst. And you are 100% right. We still do suck. And that's why I say next week is make or break for Colsey. Because if we win, I think this team goes 7-5. If you lose, then that's it. Those conversations and those talks get pretty easy. It becomes very easy to move on. Because then at that point, that puts you at 5-6 going to Mississippi on Thanksgiving weekend in the middle of literally bumfuck nowhere where nobody wants to go, amongst a crowd that will probably be just like 3 people in a mule. And you got to bring your own juice. So, and if you go 6-6, I think the conversation becomes a little bit easier December 1st on what you're going to do with Colsey. Because there were points today where I sat there and I'm like, they got to make this change. I don't know how we can stomach this for another season. They actually could beat. Yeah, they could have. I saw them run back on their first possession and opening kickoff. Like they gave it all they could handle. And if not, maybe a few more, moments here and there, they probably could have won that game. So that has me sitting here like, yeah, we better play above our ceiling times 10 next week. What do you expect next year? Finishing 6-6 because Bethune isn't as bad as the team we've beat. Honestly, if it were me, if you lose next week, I think it's simple. You move on, regardless of if you win the following week in Itabena or not. If you win, okay. Let me rephrase that. If you lose, you move on. If you lose next week, you move on regardless. If you win next week, I think he still stays. But if you finish 6-6, you got to cut the cord. You have to. We can't stomach this. And your next potential head coach just won the SIAC today over Benedict. It's Benedict. Just won the SIAC going into the Division II playoffs actually too. And I hope he does damage and wins a few games. But that conversation gets really easy because now, and because of the fact that John Davis doesn't start that job until January, Mike Smith has time between December 1st and New Year's Day to kind of, do what he needs to do. He's got about a month to really just make some phone calls, make some things happen. So one AD or the interim AD goes out and makes a move before the new AD comes in. Could happen. I hope he wins one more. He could just win the whole thing, honestly. I'm rooting for him from a distance. We had him on here, I want to say, in the middle of the pandemic. So, and he was a real chill guy to talk to, real cool guy to talk to. I've watched a lot of his interviews and stuff too. And, just the way he talks and the way he emphasizes, a lot of things, his offensive philosophy, the way he treats his players and stuff. Like, he does sound like a guy that you would definitely want to root for. But I wouldn't say just yet we're out of the running for him. Not yet. Oh, wait, no, not that one. I thought I saw another comment. Oh, Smart Alabama A&M was poorly coached and the defense held up. I think they were a little bit poorly coached also, but they got a lot of guys injured over there too. They don't have They don't have their starting quarterback right now. The first one was ruled ineligible before the season even started, and then you lose Cornelius Brown to an injury, so now you're dealing with – and that's the other thing. I'm glad you reminded me, Kev. This was a third or fourth string quarterback that just went in and tossed for 227 and a TD and an interception on you. Not to mention he rushed for 22 yards. We have to play Cam Ransom next week, who's got a full season of starts under his belt. Regardless of how you feel, whether you think he's good or not, he's better than what you saw tonight. So there better be some type of game plan there to neutralize and stop him. Because that kid could easily go for 400 if the third string or fourth string could toss for 227 tonight on us. You better wake up. I think 80 sucks for the final sale. Yeah, because I think she is still involved. Like, behind the scenes, I think she's still involved. Because she was at the Jackson State game. She was seen, but not really heard. And I'll be willing to, and Quinn Gray was there too. I'll be willing to bet you they had a conversation. I'd be willing to bet they had at least one conversation. And Mike Smith was down there too. So I'd be willing to bet there's conversations being had. That QB was slow and rushing for first downs on. Exactly. And that's even more cause for concern. Because now it's like you better put a spy, something. You have to do something. Because you're going to face a whole lot better of a team next week. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's special assistant to the president. Still very much in the mix. Still very much involved. So she's quietly pulling strings behind the scenes. She's just not the person that's going to get up there and say, oh, well, I know what you mean, buddy. But yeah, she's not going to be the one to go up there and says like, oh, well, we've moved on or we've, decided to do this and do that. That'll be Mike Smith's job up until January. Unfortunately, this is also true. And that lone rushing TD, that was like a long breakaway run that they had for Ryan Morrow. I'm sitting there and I'm looking like, where are the linebackers filling the hole? Like, where are the safeties coming down? Like, and why are we reaching so much? That's the other problem. On top of this being too slow to spy, like, there's too much reaching on defense, and it kind of, reared its ugly head preseason when they shared that clip of tackling drills and you saw all the defensive players reaching, getting run over, not bringing their arms, not form fit tackling. Like, what are we doing? Oh, it's such a lost start. I don't get it. It's such a lost start. All right. As well too. So from the rest of the wide receiving room for FAMU, Jamal Haley 5 receptions, 46 yards. Goldie Lawrence 2 receptions, 38 yards. Miles Campbell 2 receptions, 36 yards. Jordan Edwards 2 receptions, 36 yards. Jalen Rogers had 1 reception, 27 yards, and a nice TD grab. It was, but yeah, Kenari Wilcher 4 receptions, 91 yards, 2 TDs. Excellent play today, and if you're going to win a game through the air next week, Kenari Wilcher, Goldie Lawrence, Jalen Rogers, those are your top 3 guys that got to step up, along with Miles Campbell in the passing game. But as I've said too, Thad Franklin, Jamal Haley, they got to run crazy. So again, I'm curious to see what the approach is. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oklahoma is going to beat Alabama. Oh my gosh. And that's the first shakeup in the playoff. That playoff ranking is going to be real interesting Tuesday night. But yeah, you got to do something, some type of way, some form or fashion, get creative and attack Bethune's defense and find a way to at least pull us out. If I'm coach, if I'm the coach on the other side, I'm picking on 18. Second and short every series. Yep, I don't blame you. I would. I absolutely would. The other thing I would do too is if I'm Raymond Woody next week, I'm running shallow crossing routes because we showed we couldn't stop it against Southern. We showed we couldn't stop it against Jackson State. And when those mess matches presented themselves, we had trouble with it. They turned into 20, 30, 40-yard gains. That's what I would do at least. So linebacker play is definitely going to have to step up in a big, big way. We got to get into rhythm quickly and do more field goals next week. Yep, and we've been saying that since homecoming. Field goals are not going to win you this game next week. Also, special teams. Kickoff return. It wasn't even a punt return. It was a kickoff return. It was like 80-plus yards. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah. Special teams, you're going to have to cover well. We gave up this season already, one kickoff return? It was against Alcorn, so got to tighten up in that area. That is crazy. Oh, my goodness. Oklahoma really might get into the playoff. That's insane. All right, let's see. They almost went 100% on third down. I mean, for this evening, so as far as third downs goes, so at FAMU was 2 of 9 on third down. Ooh. Oh, God, that's horrible. And then Alabama A&M was 11 of 18 on third down. And then as well, too, we had 392 yards of total offense. They had 460. That is literally the most that they've had in God knows how long. They had 233 yards rushing. That is the best rushing total they've had since October 11th. As well, too, we had 299 yards passing. They had 227, which that's too much defensively. But for us, I mean, hey, almost a 300-yard game. I'll take it. 93 yards on the ground. That's got to be better. 7 penalties for 60 yards. They had 3 penalties for 15 yards. And they dominated the time of possession, 34-37. We had 25-23. By the way, also, too, SWAC TV sucks. I just want to let that be known, too. I don't know what they thought. I don't know that. Oh, God, that app sucks. They got to fix that for next football season. Too many times it gets choppy and you have to like close out and then reopen it. But yeah, 7 penalties for 60 yards. Got to clean that up next week. All right. So, as far as next week's opponent goes, Bethune-Cookman. So, Florida Club. Absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. I know. What a night. Literally working on my last nerve and then just, having us all sweated out towards the end. I'm telling you, man, it might take, a few shots of Crown Royal and Jack Daniels to get me through next week. Which, by the way, Tasha, make sure you got your picks ready because I'm coming to you next week as a guest. Make sure you and Ashley have y'all's picks ready for next week. All right, so let's see. So, okay, looking at this game from Bethune-Cookman Jackson State. Awesome. All right, so yeah, looking at this game from Bethune and Jackson State. So, wow, much like Alabama A&M, Bethune had 2 penalties for 15 yards. But they turned the ball over 3 times. Oh my goodness. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble lost. So, next week, opportunities are going to present themselves for the secondary. What are we going to do with them when they are afforded to us? 3 turnovers today by this Bethune-Cookman offense. Got to do something with it. They didn't even, oh my goodness. Wait, what? They didn't even score an offensive touchdown? Gee, so that 13 is very misleading. Dang, I thought they at least had like another touchdown and maybe a missed field goal. Yeah, next week is going to be pretty interesting. Damn. Hey, I know. I'm telling you, there's some things in Albany that I would love to have. Quinn Gray is one of them. But again, it depends how the next 2 weeks go. But at the same time, too, I will say also I have not seen much of an improvement personally from this team from the Orange Blossom Classic to now. We look about steady. RJ's gotten better. I'll give him that. But as far as some other things goes, the sluggishness, the inconsistency. Yes. Yeah. You have to take advantage of it. They're going to give them to you. That score is very misleading though. Like, oh my gosh. I knew they had the kickoff return touchdown, but I was thinking like, they had another touchdown, but maybe missed. Like, but man. What's going on, Montre? What's up? So from Chicago. Nice. Aluminium scored 5 points last week. Yeah, I know. We know. Yep. And they gave up 48. This was, again, the best offensive production they've had since, I want to say probably when they beat Valley back in early October. That's how bad this defense is. You're not the only one that's not sold on him. I will say, I think he's the leader for me, is he the leader in the clubhouse? Yes, I think he is. I think he deserves the first interview. Now, what I will also say is this. I still think you should look under every other nook and cranny to get it right. If the others don't check out, then I think you hire him. if it comes to that. Because there's also a chance we could just be stuck with Colsey for 2026. And then at that point, again, like I said earlier, he's in the contract year. He better hit everything right like he should. Because if he doesn't, he's going to be out. He's not getting an extension. Personally, it's SWAC championship or bust if he does come back. Yeah, he's gotten better, but yeah, still, honestly, look, I said this in Countdown to Kickoff. If he's coming back next year, if Colsey comes back next year, I still wouldn't commit to him. I would still go out and find someone better. Again, you got a kid coming in from Jacksonville Reigns that, only lost one game last year, and that was to Miami Northwestern in the state championship. Like, I'd give that kid an opportunity. Maybe you bring in somebody else and give them an opportunity, see how fast they pick up on things. And if they're more consistent in the offseason and they gel better with these guys and wide receiver and running back and with the offensive line, who knows? But me personally, if I was the head coach, I would not mortgage my future and my chances of getting a contract extension on him. I wouldn't. In the NFL, someone like that, in poor defense and the inconsistencies, that gets you fired. Defense very inconsistent, offense not pushing the run. Yeah. I'm hoping that they have like this Jekyll and Hyde thing with the run offense done next week, where we went for 200 last week, we didn't go for 200 this week, but then next week hopefully we go for 200. Oh, got you. Okay, I wasn't sure what you meant, but I believe it probably was. What more would you want Quinn to? Oh, he's talking to him. Yeah, that is true, and he's averaging like 30 something points. What games are we winning next week? Or next year, my bad. Jeez. What games are we winning next year? So, as of right now, I would say I think you can beat Southern. I think you can beat Valley at home because I don't think anybody's going to mess that up and try to put it in Atlanta because nobody's really going to turn out. Much like this year, I felt like that was a train wreck waiting to happen. So you beat Southern, you beat Valley. I think you can beat Alabama A&M because you got them coming to your house. You're winning homecoming. That'll be against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Who is the other team from the West that we have to play? Who's the other team from the West? Jeez, I'm drawing a blank. Who was the other team from the West? Oh, my God. Oh, Alcorn. I think you could beat Alcorn. So, let's see. So, Southern, Pine Bluff, Alcorn, Valley, Alabama A&M. That's 5 right there. Depending on how the Florida Classic turns out next week, I mean, for now, we'll say you win the Classic, so that's 6. So, I mean, yeah, 6 wins is for what I can say right now. I think this team is like a 6-7 win team. I'm being generous if I push it to 8. But, I mean, yeah, if you go 7-5, 6-6 next year under Colsey, that's not enough to warrant a contract extension. I'm not paying somebody more because this 3-year deal is $720,000. I'm not upping the pay to likely $800,000 next year for somebody that's only reeling in 6 to 8 wins. I'm just not. You've had 3 years at that point. That's why I say again, SWAC championship or bust. Well, win the SWAC championship or bust. Yeah, I mean, that's 6-6. Yeah. So it's just it's hard to say. Can't give it to him. Hardy's looking better because we just played ball. Yeah, that's true too. Very true. Were there any injuries? Yeah, Goldie Lawrence had a knee injury, but he did come back and he did play. So I think they should be very like aware of that during this week's preparation. You know, like use him in a limited role. A lot of board work, classroom work for him to make sure he understands what his role will be this week as far as the game plan goes and the tendencies of what Bethune will present. But I wouldn't have him out there like going crazy trying to run routes. I'd probably, help him get his footing, nurse him, slowly work him into the fold. So that way he's 100% by the time warmups come about for next week. But, nothing crazy. Like I'm not making him go out there and run one-on-ones against defensive backs just for him to possibly retweak his knee. It is indeed classic week. It sure is. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to get to Orlando. I wish I could leave now. He needs reps to speed up his clock. He does. This is very true. He does. And I'm curious, just like I just wonder what is that film session like with him? Like, are you making it aware that yes, you can also read to the left and as well as the right side of the field? Like you don't have to just lock in on your first read every time. You don't have to keep patting the football. I'll tell you one thing, the way he locks onto his first read, if he'd be a mean not play action. He'd be a mean pump fake quarterback if he knew how to really do it. He'd be about as good as Rich Gannon was with it. Oh, yeah, I already saw this one. 22 on defense. 22. So basically Colsey's gonna have to restructure his defense next year. And factor in also like he wants to umpire games and stuff. Ain't no time for that. You need to be trying to rebuild this whole thing. It's a contract year. You need to be rebuilding this whole thing. So again, I say to that, we're going to see just how bad he really wants to be here beyond 2026. Because if he's out there umpiring games like crazy, kind of tell you what to expect. So we'll see. But again, too, I'm all for, somebody getting their PhD or grad school, going to grad school and stuff. I understand. I did the same thing. I'm all for somebody doing that too. But it needs to be grad school football. Trying to build this program up. That needs to be the top two focuses. Nothing else. Still mad about last season. We sure did. And it's a lack of creativity and play calling. And the one common denominator from last year to this year. Who is it? Who do you think we play for the Orange Blossom Classic? It's got to look better. Backed. So this is what I've actually heard too. Kev from the Bahamas or Kev from Tally. This is actually who I've heard as well. South Carolina State is allegedly the Orange Blossom Classic opponent. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. It doesn't make me feel good because of the fact of seeing they're one game away from going back to the Celebration Bowl. And Berry's consecutively, building a pretty good MEAC juggernaut up there right now. So when Labor Day weekend rolls around next year, I'm not feeling good about it. I feel like we have in certain areas the talent to compete with them. I just don't feel like we have the right person leading that said talent. He does run the ball. Yep, he's going to run it. Crazy enough, though, he'll also, when he throws it, he's going to give you an opportunity to pick it off. So we have to take full advantage of it. Yep. And depending on how the Celebration Bowl goes, they may be coming in off of a HBC national championship. Maybe. hopefully Berry has a better approach to the SWAC or Celebration Bowl than he did last year as far as preparation goes, because that team didn't even look like they were ready to play. They just went in and rolled over. But at the same time, too, they have to get past Deshaun Jackson and Delaware State next week. So we'll see what happens there. RJ's quarterback. With RJ as QB and with Colsey as head coach, we're going into next season on a low. Hate to say it. That's why I'm like, I think it was Little Baby who said it in Countdown to Kickoff, and even earlier. Like, I'm just like 7 wins right now, 6 or 7. I just don't see how you can go to Montgomery, beat Alabama State next year, go to Jackson, beat them, and then beat South Carolina State. On top of the fact that you also have a money game, like I don't see how you can like muster up, wins there. Yeah, I have my doubts. So I think we'll see how these next 2 games go. We'll see. I think you can win the one in Itabena, but the one this weekend, I don't know. Like I said, I think like I told Hitman 1887, we are the best of the worst. We're the best of the worst. So we're not like we're not in the toilet, but man, we're circling at the top of the water. Can the young man from Reigns come in January as an early commit? If so, that QB1 position could be. I'm not sure. I am not sure. I mean, now take it from someone. I'm someone that went to private school. In private school, we were not allowed to have like an early enrollee thing where we could graduate early and then enroll in January. But in public school, maybe that's the situation. I'm not sure. I think it would come down to that, obviously. Like what does his GPA look like? Does he qualify as someone that could graduate early? Does he have a lot of his, core classes likely done before Christmas and stuff? I'm assuming. So if he can early enroll, then hey, yeah, okay. So it does depend on his credits and stuff. So yeah, if all his credits and all his ducks are in a row, then I think that he could probably leave Reigns early and enroll in FAMU in January, and then start taking classes and stuff, and then from there compete for the job, which I think he's 100% right now in the running. I would not commit to anybody for next year. You already got to rebuild the defense because you're losing 22 starters. You got to go find yourself a QB1. What's his name? Oh, dear. Let's see. I had it on here. Timothy Cole II, or TJ Cole II. That's his name. So, yeah, TJ Cole II. He went undefeated last year up until the state championship game. He lost to Miami Northwestern, who was, ironically, the head coach was Teddy Bridgewater last year. Yep, no problem. He's good at saying we. Have to look at the film. And I hope they do for a change. Someone said help is on the way. Do I have film on TJ? I actually, maybe I can share it here if I can go in here and find it. Let's see. Timothy Cole. No, that's his Instagram. Let me see if I can find some. Let's see, Timothy Cole. Let's see. No, let me type in his huddle. Okay, that's okay. Here we go. Yep. So what I'll do is I'll copy this link and I will put it in the comment section for you guys. There y'all go. Maybe I could probably screen share this as well. Maybe we could just watch a little bit of it together. Senior. Okay, so this is, oh, so he actually does have some highlights up here. Okay. Let's. All right. So it's an ad playing right now, so it'll be up in about 40 seconds. Is Colsey here next season? The Classic will be interesting. Cutman is playing really good. I think it, like I said earlier, I think it depends on how the next 2 weeks go. If you win the Classic, I think he's got the potential to go 7-5. If you lose the Classic, I think he's out. 6-6, I think he's gone. Because at that point, it's like, what's the main 2 games that you can't lose as a head coach at FAMU? You can't lose homecoming, can't lose the Classic. So, and he's already won. He's won homecoming. He needs to check that final box off and win the Classic. So if he loses that one, I think it's hard to say. And I also think the way that he loses it, if he loses it, is also going to have a huge say in it too. But in my opinion, regardless of whether you win it by 1 or you lose it by 1, I think that kind of raises some eyebrows and some uncertainty. Let's see. So for those that were asking about Timothy Cole, here we go right here. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen for y'all. So let's see what this kid's got. Nice throw. RJ can't do that. Oh, this is against Trinity Christian. Okay. Yes, we're on the postgame recap, folks, and we are watching film of Timothy Cole II, who is FAMU's latest QB commit. Okay, so he rolls out, fires it deep. Oh. Yeah, this kid looks pretty good. Did they? Like what was the score? What was the score of that? I'm curious. Because Trinity Christian, we played against them when I was in high school in the state semifinal when they had Kevin Tolliver, and they were pretty good. They ended up winning states that year. Yeah, I'm just curious what the score was. Dude, this kid's nice. Dude, that he can hit that seam route. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he does. Teresa Wesley, yeah, he's got an arm. And he can throw on the run too. 48-14. Sheesh. Oh my goodness. Shakes it off. Wow. Okay. I've watched some of his highlight, but I didn't watch it I didn't watch this one. There was like another link I saw. But these views like from the end zone, like they provide another view for coaches to see on huddle and stuff. So I do like this. Are we recruiting some of his wide receivers is my next question, because some of these guys are nice too. QB keep right up the gut. Gets out of it. Nice. Yeah, no, Therese. Yeah, no, I really want to know. Like, are we recruiting some of his wide receivers? Because like some of the, like, dude, like these kids are nice. Like not just the quarterback, but like the guys on the receiving end are nice too. And I wouldn't coach. They can catch the ball. Yeah. And when he does get on campus, don't y'all like coach all that like him running the ball himself. Don't coach that out of him. You got to let him do that. Let him cook. Let him do his own thing. Reminder: you're in a contract year. Every little bit helps. I know I keep saying contract year, but like I'm emphasizing it. Like you need every little bit of help. Sheesh. Game stats. Christian contest. 13. Yeah. No, hey, look. Oh, 13. Okay, here we go. Okay. Got it. Okay. 13 of 19, 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, there better be a quarterback competition next year. But I also did hear too, like even if they did move on from Colsey, I think like they did say that this kid's still locked in. 13 for 19 for 271 and 3 touchdowns is actually really, really good, especially in high school. To be almost like that's nearly perfect in high school ball. Oh my goodness, he got wide open. Wow, these guys get. Yeah, Cole. I hope they didn't stop at just the wide at the quarterback. I hope they got some of these wide receivers offers as well too. You know, honestly, yes. Like bring the entire team. Bring the entire team. We got there's kids. I actually went to a playoff game last night. There's kids over at Armwood right now. They got 3 linemen that look like Jordan Davis who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, are we recruiting these kids? I get it. Grades are very important. I'm sure they have them because they're still eligible to play right now. But like, there's so much talent out here. There's so much talent out here in Florida. Yeah, this kid's legit, man. This kid's legit. That makes me excited for what's coming in next year. Not to mention, I think they also got another kid at wide receiver out of Florida High. I believe it was Florida High. So there's a lot to be optimistic about for next season as far as these young guys coming in. He was not. Heard he wasn't actually a Colsey recruit. I'd be asking who else would like to be a rally with. Yeah, for real. Honestly, bringing somebody with him that's got chemistry, or a couple players that have chemistry and stuff, but yeah, he was not. I think Willie was the one that gave him the offer before, Colsey had even gotten the job and promoted. So I could see how, this guy would fit with Willie. Let's see. Oh, that's nice. Didn't know we could put people on timeout. Nice. But yeah. All right, folks. Yeah, we've been on here almost a whole hour. Jeez, I think this is actually one of the longest shows we've ever done. Always the week before the classic. These are always the longest videos and stuff. I don't know why, but I like it. This was fun. We got to recap the victory and everything. as well too. Got to take a little sneak peek into Bethune-Cookman and what they did. Actually, oh my god, they gave up 360 yards rushing. Granted, 3 different guys had 100 yards today. There is no excuse why Thad Franklin and Jamal Haley shouldn't have. I'm just not seeing this, so I'm going on a tirade. There's no excuse why Jamal Haley and Thad Franklin shouldn't have 100 yards each. Hell, even Bo Somerset. This team should get over 200 yards, over 215 yards rushing next week. No problem. They should. Jackson, geez, they didn't even have to really throw the ball much. All right, let me get off here because I'll be here all night talking about this because, good God, like, this is insane. The opportunity's there. The opportunity to win is there next week. That's all I'm going to say. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We hope you've enjoyed this as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, be sure to tune in. Rattler Roundup podcast is live Tuesday at 9 p.m. this week. We're working on getting a guest. We wanted to get the new AD, John Davis, on, but his schedule did not align with ours. So we will, work on trying to get him on maybe sometime after Thanksgiving and everything. So we'll see what happens there. As well, too, be sure to join us Wednesday night as well for the Running Gun podcast. Me, Ace, Mr. Sasser as well. Hopefully, we will be able to be joined by Ashley and Tasha as our guest pickers because we had Troy homecoming week. We had Keith from Fifth Quarter and Fangs Up podcast this past week. So hopefully they're able to join us. And then hopefully we can get Mr. Campbell for, Thanksgiving week, rivalry week, or if not, conference championship week, we can get him on. And then also, too, Countdown to Kickoff is live Friday at 12 p.m. So before I leave for Orlando, we'll be live Friday talking about the Florida Classic and giving a score prediction, keys to victory, and all those such things as that as well. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys as the viewers. Y'all are what helps this go. So that's, as I just try to do my best, man. Like I've said, been doing this since 2017. Honestly, I'm like I always say, man, I'm just a guy behind a computer. My opinion, in my opinion, my takes are just my takes. It is what it is. But I appreciate you guys as the viewers. Appreciate that comment, VM Matt, as always. But again, geez, I hope not. If that does happen, hey, Quinn Gray, you getting the first interview, my guy. The first interview. But yeah, as always, folks, y'all take care, stay safe, stay blessed. We appreciate y'all joining us this evening. We will see you Tuesday for the Rattler Roundup podcast. Me and Bishop. Oh, nice. Yeah, no, for real. That's what's up, man. I don't want to ask you your name on this, like, out in the World Wide Web like this. But yeah, no, I'll have to ask, like, if they do know you by like a nickname or anything. Matter of fact, what the hell with it? What is your name? I can just ask and see if they know you, or see if any of my mom's classmates know you before I get off of here for this evening. Again, I hate to ask your name out in the, like, literally out on the internet and the World Wide Web like that. But I'm just curious. I'll give you some time if you want to respond. If you don't, that's fine too. I can understand. In the meantime, though, while we do wait for a response, if he chooses to, or if he or she chooses to, yes, Alabama did lose. Oh, Michael Thomas, not that one. I got you. Saying Michael Thomas, not the one from New Orleans. Gotcha. So not Slant Boy, but Michael Thomas. Got it. Okay, so I'll remember that name and then I'll share it. But alrighty, folks. Cool. But yeah, again, Rattler Roundup podcast, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Running on podcasts. Hopefully we'll have Ashley and Tasha with us from Fang Exchange. That'll be Wednesday at 8 p.m. And then, of course, Countdown to Kickoff Friday at 12 p.m. before I leave to go to Orlando. Oh, yeah, don't let Ace hear you say that. Because, boy, Ace will fight about Michael Thomas, boy. He's such a hardcore Saints fan. But all right, folks, as always, y'all take care, stay safe, stay blessed. We will see you Tuesday night